Chubby, my memory's so bad. I don't remember any of the words I studied recently. I'd like to talk to you about this, and I'd like you to know that there's nothing wrong with your memory. But studying words is one of the worst ways to build your English fluency. And I understand where this comes from because in school, if you studied the same way as I did back in school, focusing more on grammar, you were tested on individual words and then had to give its translation, which is what people do in school. When it comes to fluency, there is a bit of a difference when it comes to learning vocabulary, which is what this video is going to be about. But then again, I'd like you to question your belief about your memory, because in any other areas of your life, is it true that you don't remember anything and your memory is bad when it comes to remembering your phone number the first time you use it, remembering people's names when you meet them again, or when you go to the shop and you remember the things you need to buy for you or for your family? Again, there's nothing wrong with your memory. It's just the way you look at vocabulary, the way you study vocabulary for fluency is what we can look at and make it more effective. Think about a new recipe you're trying out at home. Do you expect to remember every single detail of all the ingredients and the ways of preparing the food the next time you cook the dish on the recipe? Of course not. We would have to look at the ingredients again just to check if we are sure if it's 1 kilogram or 2 kilograms, if it's 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons, and then revisit some of the instructions as well for us to remember after multiple times of checking it. And then the recipe will live in your head and you'll be able to cook it. But in order for you to get there, you would need to do this multiple times. And the same works when it comes to your English fluency as well. Almost every single word vocabulary item that you learn will have to be reviewed and repeated multiple times in context, which means reading or listening to the word itself. Hey English learner, my name is Chubby. Welcome to my channel, a channel for English learners like you who want to learn how to make more vocabulary memorable and also to speak and communicate more confidently and fluently with the help of listening and spoken interaction. Learning from context is actually the first thing I wanted to talk with you about, and if you'd like to have an entire video on how to learn from context, just look out for this video on my channel and you will get everything you need to know about learning from context. Now, most of the time when you have a textbook, you're learning some new words from it, maybe a vocabulary book or even teachers online. Most of the time what you will see is the word or expression, its meaning or translation, and one example sentence. This information is simply not enough for you to expect that you would be able to use the expression fluently and confidently the next time you speak and want to use it. And that's exactly what context helps you with. When you read, when you listen to, when you watch something in English and you learn vocabulary from there, that context will give you so much more information about how to use a word. And one of the most important things to remember is if you don't know how to use a word, you won't use it. Again, I'm going to repeat this so it really sinks in with you. If you don't know how to use a word, you won't use it when it comes to speaking. When you use a word in its original context, you will also gradually become more confident in using them simply because you will know how to use the words based on all the information that you read and listened to. And you will see when you read or listen to vocabulary in its original context, you will also gradually become more confident in using those expressions simply because you have gathered enough information through reading and listening to understand how to use the vocabulary. And another way you can make more vocabulary more memorable and also work on your memory in general is by using the vocabulary that you have just studied. And one thing you can easily do is take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a piece of paper and just reflect on what happened on that day. Reflect on a movie that you've watched. There's so many different topics you could literally take the time and write about, intentionally trying to use a few of the vocabulary, a few of the expressions that you've recently studied. This way, you will also be able to understand how to use it and maybe able to understand how to use it better as well. So make sure you take the time, and it doesn't have to be hours. It could just be 10-15 minutes of your time with a piece of paper. If you want to improve using the vocabulary in speaking, here's a video for you to learn more about how to improve your speaking vocabulary. Is simply planning what you want to speak about. Speaking doesn't just have to be a conversation with people. It can also be what we call speaking training, which necessitates planning. So take 3 to 5 minutes to plan how you are going to express yourself. Think of a few key phrases, expressions you've recently learned, and intentionally try to put them down on paper. Again, take notes before you want to speak, so that when you have a partner to talk to, or you just speak to yourself, you'll be able to intentionally use some new expressions that aren't just the same that you keep repeating all the time. And the third and probably the most important tip I have for you is be brave and take risks. And I know if you haven't been in the process, then speaking English can be quite scary. I was there spending years and years in the fear because I wasn't confident enough to speak. And here I am having a YouTube channel, impacting lives and helping students with my business. So remember, and this is something I realized, is that speaking a foreign language that isn't yours is also one of the most courageous, one of the bravest things you could do. So be that courageous language learner and take risks. This is even true for more advanced learners who always complain that they keep repeating the same expressions themselves simply because they are too scared of using another expression that they aren't exactly sure of how to use. So again, take those risks, because when you get valuable, constructive feedback on how you use English, you will also understand how to use expressions better, and your fluency will skyrocket much faster than people who just read and listen to English and never speak it. Now that you've seen these 3 tips, the choice is now yours. Are you going to keep arguing that your memory is bad and you just don't seem to remember any of the expressions you've just studied? Or you're going to find a couple of strategies, use at least one of the tips from this video to try and see how you could practice and practice so you can automatize one of these strategies, so that you don't even have to think about how to make more words, more vocabulary memorable. And if you'd like to learn more about how to learn English for fluency much faster than most people do, then check out my free master course. You can see the link in the description below and find all the strategies, the tips, and all the helpful advice that will help you become a global English speaker who speaks English confidently, walks into any conversation, and knows how to say things to express yourself. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have any questions about anything about this video or about English fluency, you can find my contacts down there, my email address, or you could check out all my other social platforms as well. Get in touch, don't be shy, and I'm sure I'll be able to help you with some of the tips and coach you through some of your doubts as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you and hope to see you in a future video.